Hello everybody, Dr. Mike Gerhardt here. Welcome to TCOM 408. In this video I want to share some very important instructions, tips, and directions regarding your online presentation. The online presentation is the major assignment in TCOM 408. Now I know the workload is going to accelerate during the second half of this class. These assignments will be due very quickly in the next couple of weeks. I just encourage you to stay focused and energized and to dig in. So in this video, we'll talk about the online presentation. I want to provide some tips and the grading rubric so you'll know my expectations for this assignment. I really wish we could meet face-to-face for these presentations. I much prefer to be able to ask a lot of questions and provide feedback face-to-face. But we'll just have to carry on in the virtual world because of the pandemic. Anyway, the deadline for this big assignment is 8 a.m. on Wednesday, June 3rd. And I know that's coming up quick, but that's the deadline, Wednesday, June 3rd. Now, each student will have to create a 10 to 15 minute online presentation. And this will involve a case study, some ethical dilemma, issue, controversy in the world of TCOM. So your case study has to be based on some real world ethical issue. And it has to be related to the media and the tech worlds. And of course, the case study should be based on your individual interests and goals. So search the web for a fairly recent topic or ethical concern. By fairly recent, I mean within the last 3 or 4 years. Now, the topic must involve some controversy or issue in the world of TV, advertising, news, movies, social media, video games, data privacy, music. It has to be something related to the world of TCOM. So use Google to search the web for a relevant article. Maybe you want to try a search strategy like controversial advertisement. I'm sure you will find something. And in the presentation, I want you to do a little role play. I want you to imagine that you're the primary moral agent. The moral agents are the ones who make the ethical judgments, the decisions. I want you to be the one who ultimately makes the decision, the ethical decision. And I strongly encourage you to follow the SAD model, the framework for addressing an ethical issue. So 3 steps: define the situation, analysis, and then make a decision. Now, please, in your presentation, maybe toss in an image or 2 of yourself. And of course, we want to hear your voice, okay, to make it a little bit more personal. What are your options for completing this assignment? Well, the one I would recommend is learn how to add voiceover to your PowerPoint video. That's what I've basically done for this video. Added my voice to a PowerPoint presentation. Maybe you want to learn how to add voiceover to a Prezi, okay, an online presentation program, Prezi. Maybe you want to create a video. If you're a production student, this might be your choice. It doesn't matter to me. What's important is that you complete the assignment. I would strongly suggest that you add voiceover to PowerPoint. It's fairly easy. I can talk you through this quickly, I believe. And the first step is to record your show with voiceover. So you hit record slideshow and start talking. After you're finished, you need to export the file as a video. Not too difficult. Create a video version of your PowerPoint presentation. And then the final step would just be to upload the video to Canvas. to make sure that it's properly uploaded and that it's playing. So this is the technique that I've been using this summer, and no, it's not the highest form of production, but it will be adequate. Now let's review the SAD formula, because I think this is really a good framework for you to follow. Step 1, define the situation. So in your presentation, describe the facts, identify the principles and values, and really focus in on your statement of the ethical issue or question at hand. And again, I would pose it as a question. Now, step 2 is this in-depth analysis. You have to weigh the competing principles and values. Consider any important external factors. Examine your duties to the various stakeholders. Discuss the applicable ethical theories and try to identify alternatives. Step 2, analysis. After you do this, of course, you make the decision. You render a moral decision, and you should be able to defend your decision based upon some kind of moral theory. So I think that's the approach I would use, the framework for your presentation and for ultimately making your moral decision. Now, please consider your obligations and duties, not just to yourself and the people affected by your moral judgment, but the various other stakeholders, the shareholders, your professional colleagues, society, and the environment. And of course, I want you to incorporate and use all of those great ethical theories, the wisdom of the ages. Here's just a few examples. I gave you more than this, but consider when you're looking at your situation, perhaps the golden mean or the golden rule or any moral imperatives that might apply, or the idea of social responsibility or professional ethics. What does the profession say about ethics and the matter at hand? Okay, and please, as part of this, see if there's any applicable professional codes of ethics. There's a few out here. If you're writing about an ethical dilemma in the world of news, you might find a code of ethics. In the world of advertising, you may very well find a code of ethics. In the world of data and data security, you might find a code of ethics, a professional code of ethics. And if you can find one, please try to incorporate it. So, here are the criteria for grading this important assignment, the online presentation. Okay, here are the categories I will use to evaluate your presentation. First, your description of the situation, your definition of the situation. If you provided the basic facts of the case, and are those facts presented in a complete logical sequence? Okay, criteria number 2, statement of the ethical issue. I want a clear, succinct summary of the ethical question or issue. The third criteria is the identification of values. I want to know whether or not you can elaborate any competing principles, values, obligations, duties. Moral theory is another important criteria. I'd like to see a clear discussion of any applicable ethical theories. Now, of course, I want you to make a clear ethical decision, but I also want you to be able to back it up by some moral theory. Okay. Mechanics, that includes things like clarity, spelling, grammar, okay? And in this online presentation, we'll also judge you by your visuals and your audio. Are those elements relevant and engaging? So that's the criteria I will use for evaluating your online presentation. So to repeat, the deadline for this assignment is 8 a.m. Wednesday, June 3rd. Now, be advised, you will be viewing some of the other student presentations, and I'll be asking you to provide some peer reviews of the fellow student work. So be prepared for that. So do the best you can on this assignment. If you've got questions, call me or shoot me an email or a text message even, and I'll try and be of full service. So until next time, please take care of yourself, and so long for now.